We're going to keep working on our little Rook card demo here, and we'll start by fixing that squished Rook image. We'll continue implementing the drawing methods. Specifically, we'll focus on draw center text, and we're going to write a number of helpers, both methods and extensions, that are going to aid us in this whole process. So, looking back at what, remember it looked like this, we were squished. The reason is because I outsmarted myself, and when I set up Rook Square, I had you drag the wrong image over. We wanted Square Rook, which actually is square. This high-res Rook is rectangular, taller than it is wide. So drag in Square Rook and replace the other one, and it'll look correct. Okay, so that's loading up. While that's loading up, we can go over here. Here it comes. Okay, square. Looks right. Okay, draw center text. Our general strategy here is going to be to take an NS attributed string, and we're going to tell it what font to draw with and what color to draw with, and we're going to compute where on the card to draw that center text. And we'll need a few helpers to do that. So let's start by creating ourselves a Rook card helper. Now, new section here, helpers. Rook card font helper. And the way I'm going to specify this is I'm going to specify a particular font size as a CG float, and this is going to return a UI font. Okay, so now when I use the UI font constructor and I give it a name and a size here, okay, the size is just going to be the font size that got passed in, but the name is going to be fixed. And we actually have a constant up here. Right here, font name. So I can say card.fontName. And the problem is that returns an optional UI font. Okay, let's see. It's not here. Let me do a let font equal. And that returns an optional UI font. That might fail. I might not be able to find the font named whatever I've given it here. I might not be able to construct it for this size, whatever the issue is. So let's do an if let. If that works, then we'll return it. If it doesn't work, what do? Well, we need something that'll reliably always return a UI font. And if I look at UI font and see what is available for me, so this is a failable initializer, the one I'm using. There are some inits I could just call .init and get what I get. There's bold system font of size. There are some other things. But preferred font size, or preferred font, this is one that is going to guarantee to return me something. And what are the UI font.text styles? Well, so body, call out, caption 1, caption 2. These are the things that you can choose in the drop down for the font that you've seen in other examples we've done this semester. So I'm just going to say, well, if we can't find one, let's do it for the body style. That's a pretty good default one. And it can infer the class, so we'll just say .body. All right, so that's our first helper. Okay, and we'll use that in draw center text by saying let font equal Rook card font of size, and the size is going to come from our computed properties. We had one of them was center font size. That happens to be, if you look up here, center font size, 55% of the width of the bounds. So, okay, that seems to work pretty well for me. Next thing we need to build the rank text that we're going to draw in the center of the card here. So let rank text be an NS attributed string. And now, what are the different constructors? Well, I can copy another attributed string, data and options. The one I want is this one right down here, where I tell it what the string is I want to initialize it with, and then I give it a dictionary of attributes. So the string that I want, that's going to come from my rank. So rank, if you remember in our model, is an int. Right there, it's an int, so we're going to use string interpolation to create that. So string literal, put the interpolation parentheses in, and now we'll just say rank. Okay? Now the attributes, this is a dictionary. So the way we build a dictionary is we'll just list a set of key value pairs here. And one is going to be .font, And we're going to attach the font that we have just calculated from Rook card font here. And another one that we want is we want the foreground color for the text. Now you can go read about attributed strings, and you can set foreground color and background color and all kinds of other things. Anyway, foreground color. And now I would like to know what the color is for the current suit. So I'm going to write another helper called suit color that returns that to me. And it's going to return a UI color. Now, to get this to work, what I want to do is I need to create another constant here, and, well, an array of constants that's indexed by the suit. So right up here, I'm going to have another static let suit colors be an array of, or sorry, not an array, a dictionary that goes from rookcard.suit to UI color. And when I give it a given suit, then it's going to return for me the color that is supposed to be associated with that. And if I now create a dictionary here of, now the key in this case is going to be a suit, which is either .rook, .red, .green, oops, .yellow, or .black. Okay, and now what color do I want for that? Well, I need to build up a UI color, and so I'm going to create a UI color here and look at the different initializers. The closest one to what I know about is this red, green, blue, but what it's doing is it's saying I want a float between 0 and 1, but I know my colors in terms of the RGB 0 to 255 components, and so here I'd like an extension. So let's pause and let's go make ourselves a new file here and build an extension on UI color. So I'm going to call this one UI color plus RGB because that's what I'm creating here. Okay, and we're going to need UI kit for this. And so we're going to say extension color, UI color. And so we just need to create a convenience initializer. And the convenience initializer is going to take a red, which is an int, a green, which is an int, a blue, which is an int. Now I'm abbreviating. You might want me to write out red, green, and blue, but anyway. Okay, and now I'm going to call that other variant, that one right there. The alpha I want is fully opaque. So, but now here for the CG float, I want to take the int divided by 255 and pass it in. So I'm going to do one more extension to help me with this. So an extension on the int class, and I'm going to say the RGB component, this is a computed property, RGB component returns a CG float, and that does the division by 255. So let's convert our int to a float, so self, and divide that by 255.0. And now I can use that extension to say I want the RGB component on red, green, and blue. Okay, and now I have my little UI color RGB extension, and I go back in here where I was, and now I can say UI color, and now somewhere in this list I should see, there it is, the RGB. Okay, so my color for the Rook is going to be that turquoise, which is 34 and 193 and 196, and for red we're going to go with 237, 37, 50. For green, 36, 193, 80. For yellow, 242, 199, and 58. That's really more of a gold, but anyway, they call it yellow. And then black, I just want straight up black, uicolor.black. Okay, and now for something like this, sometimes, I don't do this very often in Swift programming, but sometimes where I've got something like this that lines up nicely, I'll come in and do a little vertical alignment here. Okay, anyway, so whatever you like to do there. Sorry, I jumped too quick. whatever you'd like to do there. I've got now a dictionary of suit colors that map my suit enums to color values. And now I can continue back where I was over here saying, in my suit color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my current suit, I'm going to look it up in the dictionary. But again, I need to do a default value because, okay, well, let's, if let color equal card.suitColors indexed by card.suit, then I can return that color. Okay, the reason suit colors sub card.suit returns an optional color is because the compiler doesn't know, have I been exhaustive in my set of possibilities when I constructed that dictionary in the first place. It doesn't know if the dictionary has a key in advance when it's compiling, that it has a key for all of the possible suits. I know that as a programmer, but it doesn't. Anyway, so what do we do if that fails? Well, let's just return black. Okay. So, and now we've got our little suit color helper. And, okay, so we've got our font, we've got our attributed string with the rank string, and then the attributes of the font and the foreground color. Okay, so now we need to do a little bit of calculation here. We need to know what the bounds of this text are. And we're going to start by saying our text bounds is, and I'm going to use a little constructor here, cgrect.0 is defined to be the rectangle with all zeros. Origin 0, 0, width and height 0. But it's a variable, so I can assign to it. Okay, so now we need to know the size. So textbounds.size is going to be, now here's where our attributed string really helps us, because it knows its text size. Sorry, rank text.size. It knows its size. Attributed string can calculate that for me. The next thing I need to do is set the origin to text bounds. Okay, now remember, let's see if I can pull this up. So the origin needs to be calculated based on the width and how much, what's the bounds width subtracted by the text width, and I want half of that. And anyway, so that's what I'm going for on the origin. So the origin is going to be CG point. There will be an X and a Y, and the X is going to be something divided by 2. And the y is also going to be something divided by 2. And for the x, we take the bounds.width, we subtract off the text bounds.width, and we divide that by 2. The y, bounds.height, and we subtract off the text bounds.height, divide that by 2. Okay? And now we have calculated the appropriate text bounds, and we can draw in that text bounds. So rank text, we say, rank text, would you please draw yourself in this text bounds rectangle? Okay, and that should put that up there. If I go to my storyboard, and let's look at the attributes for this guy. Rank 9, suit, now let's make that suit green. Anyway, so you see that operating about like we'd expect. Okay, there is one other piece. We need an underline under that 9, and so back over here, let's say if card.underlined ranks, that's one of the constants I defined above, contains our current rank, then what I need to do is draw center underline using text bounds with font. And I'm going to pass in the text bounds and the font because I've already calculated them, and the center underline needs to be done with respect to the text bounds and the current font. So private func draw center underline using text bounds as a CG rect with font as a UI font. Okay? And that's as far as we'll go in this video. Come back to the next one, and we'll continue drawing the box around the center text and some other things.